I think I have the pleasure of calling the 2025 Performance Review Committee to order. We do have an agenda which was posted online if you all had a chance to review. I don't anticipate there will be, but are there any changes to the agenda? All right, I don't think we need to actually approve the agenda, do we?
No, don't need to approve.
All right, so I just will go through a quick roll call of who we have here. Just a reminder, this is a public meeting. We're hybrid. So we are here in person in the room, and we are also online.
Are we see you online? Can we see them, or can they see us?
They can see us. Hang on a second, let me see if I can get them. Where's my? I'll try to get the.
Yeah, that would.
Okay. But online, we do have Heather Beckman, the delegate from Placer County, Courtney Wyke, the delegate from Washoe County. And then here in the room, we have Courtney Walker and Ernie Strelo from Douglas County, John Hitchcock from the city of South Lake Tahoe, and Brendan Ferry from El Dorado County. And then TRPA staff in the room, Wendy Jepson, Permitting and Compliance Division Manager, Graham St. Michelle, General Counsel, myself, Tiffany Good, the Local Government Coordinator, and Jessica Gillies, our Administrative Assistant. We also have Catherine Houston online, who's also supporting. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and dive us in. Again, this is for the residential, this is the convening of the Performance Review Committee for the residential allocation distribution. And just a quick overview, very, very quick presentation. Jessica, if you can go to the next slide for me. And I know you're juggling some things here.
Do you wanna do the public comments for public interest comments?
Oh, sure. I guess before we dive in, we will ask if there are any public interest comments that don't have to do with this item, correct?
Right.
Okay.
We'll have public comment on that item at the end.
Okay, yeah, we'll do public interest comments that aren't related to this item now, if there are any, and then we'll do public interest comments on this item at the end.
I don't see any members of the public online, but I'm gonna announce it and give them a chance.
Okay, thanks.
If any members of the public would like to comment to the committee, please raise your hand now by pressing on the raise hand button at the bottom of your Zoom screen. There are no hands raised to comment.
Thank you, Jessica. All right, so we'll dive in. As part of TRPA's growth management program, TRPA releases or meters out residential allocations over time and then monitors the impact of new development on the environmental thresholds. Residential allocations are considered for release every 4 years, consistent with code section 50.4.2. And then those same allocations are considered for distribution every 2 years based on the performance review system, also provided in chapter 50 of the code. This year, the Advisory Planning Commission and the Governing Board will be considering both the release and the distribution of allocations. And both the Advisory Planning Commission and Governing Board meetings will take place or scheduled to take place in March of this year. Next slide, please, Jessica. And we already kind of did introductions, so we can kind of breeze over this, but here are the Performance Review Committee members. Next slide. The performance review system is based on 3 factors: residential audit performance, which the audits include both project permits and residential project compliance, total maximum daily load, reaching those targets, and also short-term rental neighborhood compatibility requirements. Next slide. Every year, TRPA audits 5% of all residential permits issued by local jurisdictions, and the code states that a jurisdiction shall receive its base allocation for an average residential audit score of 90% or greater. And TRPA found that all of the jurisdictions received a score of 90% or greater for both 2023 and 2024. So great job. And then the Lake Tahoe Total Maximum Daily Load is a program that requires local jurisdictions to reduce pollutant loads to restore Lake Tahoe's historic lake clarity. The code states that a jurisdiction shall receive their base allocation for achieving a 90% or greater conformance rate with, I'll just shorten it, TMDL targets. And that a jurisdiction shall receive one increment deduction for less than 90% to 70% conformance with TMDL targets. TRPA consulted with the California Law and Regional Water Quality Planning Board and the Nevada Division of Environmental Protection and found that 4 out of 5 of the jurisdictions were in substantial compliance with their TMDL requirements. The exception being Placer County, who achieved an average of 75% of their target and therefore would receive one increment of deduction each for 2023 and 2024. Next slide, please. I do want to mention that there was a staff report that we posted online 2 weeks ago and that you all had the chance to review. And since then, we received additional information from Washoe County, additional comments and an updated short-term rental neighborhood compatibility report that updated the numbers and the recommendations for fulfilling these STR neighborhood compatibility requirements. So the requirement here is that if you achieve 90% or greater compliance with these short-term rental guidelines, that there will be no deductions. And as a result of the updated information that Washoe County gave to us, they're achieving at least 90% or greater and therefore receive no reductions. And all of the other jurisdictions also comply. No reductions applied. Next slide, please. And so the table that you see now is the final recommendation for disbursement. You'll see that all of the jurisdictions are receiving their annual base allocation per year 2023 and 2024. And you'll see the total recommended 2025 and 2026 allocations on the right-hand side. And then Placer County did receive that one increment deduction for the TMDL target. And so they will be receiving 13. Staff is recommending that they receive 13 less allocations than their max. Next slide. So we'll open it up for committee discussion, questions, comments. No.
I just have a quick one on the VHR program. In the staff report, you put our entire ordinance in there. And not the table. Was that, I mean, it looked a little weird to me, but I mean, that's fine with me. There's 25 pages of El Dorado County ordinance in there.
We can include the table. I didn't get the table from Melanie, and we can prescribe numbers to that based on the ordinance.
Yeah, we've done it, you know, every other time we had.
Are there any updates to previous tables?
Probably.
Okay.
I mean, I can get you that if it's helpful, or.
Okay.
We've only done more, I would say.
Yes, for sure. I think that would be my take as well. We can include that with the APC packet.
Probably a good idea.
Okay.
And I can talk to Melanie about that.
Okay.
Unless anyone wanted to read our entire ordinance.
I have a question. How does the deduction work? I mean, Placer County has 6.5. Is that 6.5 times 2? And that's how you get to what, 13? Is that how it works?
So the way that it works is we always have taken an average of the 2 years TMDL targets, you know, the percentage of which they are achieved, or if in many cases they're overachieved. And so the 2-year average was at 75% for Placer County. So because it's an average of the 2 years, a deduction increment is applied per year.
Okay.
And that's consistent with
But one increment is 6.5.
6.5.
In one increment.
Yeah. Now,
So that's,
twice.
so twice, so that's what it,
Okay, yeah, I just.
Right.
yeah, and the increments are different depending on the jurisdiction.
Right.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Wendy.
The increment is kind of weird there, but yeah.
Yeah.
Also, just for Placer County, I mean, this isn't my question, but just so I know, the TMDL crediting requirements are required every year.
Mhm.
And so I saw they got dinged both years. Does that mean they didn't meet it for either year?
So I think the staff report lays out, they are achieving above their target for 2024. We're not through 2024 yet. And this allocation disbursement takes into account 2023 and 2024. So we took where they're at, where all the jurisdictions were at for 2024, and everybody's achieving over their target. But for Placer County, we took that number and averaged it with their 2023 number. And that's how we got that. We did that. That's how we applied it for all the jurisdictions.
And that still got them to 75.
Correct.
Okay,
Mhm.
thank you.
Mhm.
And can we, set up a meeting with you and probably someone from BMP staff just to go over some of the comments, particularly on our winterization audits. We just had questions
Mhm.
where we got dinged on a few things, and logistically, we're just trying to figure out how we can improve our score. In one particular category where, what usually happens is before winterization, we send our staff out to go inspect every single parcel. And get them to button it up, and then like always, we leave, and then
Things happen after.
we leave, and
Yeah,
then.
they do.
And then TRPA staff comes out and does inspection and we get dinged.
So that would be Steve's team and his team who would do it. So I would talk to Steve and say, hey, you know, when we were there, it was fine. We took pictures, it's fine. Then after, it doesn't seem fair that you're doing about something that happened after you did your inspection.
And just to be clear, do you want to meet specifically on the properties that were audited, or would you like more of a general,
It's
like,
just-
train?
Just
a
training
refresher?
and just to ask questions about
Okay.
how we can improve our process, particularly on the points where we actually got dinged.
Okay,
A lot of it was, it had to do with the driveways. Because what usually happens, you know, we put the core logs across the driveway and then we leave, and then they remove it or they just drive right over it.
Yeah.
And then it just gets obliterated, and I think we got dinged a couple times on that.
yes,
And has her hand raised.
go ahead, Heather.
I was just going to say, we experienced the same issue here, and I'm guessing that as it comes for the winterization, I'm guessing every jurisdiction has that same problem. And so I think maybe there's a collective conversation around that should occur. I know we were having a similar problem with our final inspections over the years, you know, how the coverage grows after they get their security returned. And so what we've done there is we've started, you know, it's been time consuming, but we've taken photographs of every property, you know, all vantages around the site. I'm not suggesting necessarily we do that for winterization, because doing that for every single site is very time consuming. But I do think, you know, there should be some sort of collective approach that might recognize the fact that things change outside of our control and after we leave.
Okay, Heather, noted. We'll talk to compliance about it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just say we have appreciated, like I called you after you sent the preliminary audit results for 24. And I've just appreciated being able to sort of look at our records and try to rectify or provide more information and et cetera, so.
Okay.
I just, you know, if there's a way we can continue that when we do this the next time, it's very helpful for us.
Yeah, and also use those, I guess, as training opportunities as well.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if, you know, the inspectors want to do a joint one, like, we're gonna be at that site, you wanna come too?
Mhm,
That kind of thing.
that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, our inspector would.
Yeah, I would think, why not?
They would appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely.
Courtney Wyke has her hand raised too.
Go ahead, Courtney.
All right, thank you. And I just want to say thank you to Tiffany and TRPA staff for considering the revisions that Washoe County sent over. Certainly appreciate you reconsidering the scoring and the scoring of the short-term rental compatibility or neighborhood compatibility program. I think I've already shared this with Tiffany. Just the format doesn't lend itself to provide, more of a description or a narrative when maybe it's not clearly a yes, no answer, as some of Washoe County's responses didn't necessarily maybe meet the full full yes, but maybe partial. So if maybe as a suggestion or a request for the future, if there's just a way to better maybe like just looking at the format, because as I would adjust it or, maybe type more than just a yes, my column would go down and then all my yeses got mismatched with the question to the left. So we had a little bit of trouble there. And so I apologize for the inconvenience and late changes, but certainly appreciate you all taking those into consideration.
Other questions or comments?
I mean, I definitely have some questions because I've never been involved in this process before, but for the TMDL, we haven't finalized our 2024, like done the annual report. I mean, I haven't done my annual report yet. I don't know what you.
Yeah, it's due at the end of March.
Yeah, and so I was just wondering at what point those numbers are looked at. Is it like when the declarations are awarded or how that works?
I'll have to get a definitive answer on that from you, because as you probably know, we have a report out on LakeTahoeinfo.org that is a mechanism of the inputs that we receive from the jurisdictions and Caltrans and NDOT, et cetera. So that while the final numbers have not been, I guess, finalized like they have been for 2023, it does show the progress report. And so that's what we're reporting on. That's what was cited in the local government report and the staff report, is that site and the date that those numbers were pulled. So I'm not sure what comprises of the inputs and how that report is derived at that point in time. I'd have to ask the experts on that.
Okay, yeah, I was just curious, like, what we got for 2024, because we didn't achieve it in 2023 and we did in
Right.
2024, and obviously it was enough to get us there, but I don't know
Yeah,
the details.
that's exactly correct.
And it's, I feel like that's important information
Mhm.
going forward, as far as your time frame for getting those things in.
When you pull the results.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would be good to know.
Yeah,
okay,
make
Yeah.
sure the data is correct.
Yeah, cause I don't know about you, but I usually wait until I have to do it.
yeah.
But if there is a reason to do it sooner, then that's good.
I
to know.
definitely waited until January so that in theory you had the full year, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that meant that you had reported everything.
Yeah,
you needed to report. So.
NDEP has had a lot of staff changes
Mhm.
recently. And so things don't get approved like they used to.
Okay, thanks for that comment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have actually a question for the other jurisdictions. Are you guys seeing the demand for allocations, or you guys have a wait list?
That's my question too. I'm curious. Yeah.
We used to have a huge wait list, and when Measure T went into effect and our VHR program was still pretty wide open, our allocations were in unbelievable demand
Mhm.
to build VHRs.
Yeah.
Which is counter to our housing goals. Since our VHR program has really tightened down, our demand for allocations has really dropped off.
Yeah, because we don't.
So do you have any waiting to hand out now?
We don't have anyone waiting because we've had enough to
Do
satisfy.
you have some in the bank still?
Yeah, we have a few.
Oh, good. And
Yeah.
you're getting more now. So
Yeah, we have a lot.
you have a lot too.
Yeah.
Good. That's good.
It's I think 60.
Wow.
Wow.
But don't you guys decide where they go? Like some can go
We-
somewhere.
Yeah,
other
we
places.
do, but we have like about 30 available for single family and like 15 town centers, but we're just not seeing the demand
Interesting.
for allocations. But that may change with
Phase three.
with ADUs, people
Yeah.
wanting to build ADUs, and I think if we ever get to a point where we look at coverage and ADUs,
Mhm.
then I think we might then start seeing an uptick.
Mhm.
And the city, we also, we have like 50 potential residential use banked on city property that we'll give away for people to build ADUs, which then can pair with allocations, and then we'll start
Yeah.
using it up. But right now, there's just no demand.
Yeah, maybe
Okay.
with the phase three project,
Projects, yeah.
if they change the PRUU, maybe you need like an eighth of a PRUU to build an ADU or something.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Maybe we'll start seeing a lot more demand,
Yeah.
and then they could start drawing on some allocations. Hopefully.
Well, there's conversion, people can do, CFA to residential units, so that may be
Yeah,
filling some of the gap too.
Oh, yeah, all the cities, all the ADUs we've approved are all converted
Conversion.
TAUs.
yeah.
Heather, I see your hand raised. I just want to let you and Courtney know, just to feel free to chime in as if
Right,
you're
don't-
sitting around
Yeah.
the table.
Okay. I'll let Heather go. She had her hand raised first.
So just speaking to the allocation pool, we actually have a fair number, over 200. I would agree with everything that the others said in terms of, so we have a pretty consistent demand, so a handful each year. We are also at an IPE score of 726.
Yeah,
So once that IPE score lowers, and I'll make a little plug of hoping we can revisit that soon, we'll have more properties available. We also have, I agree with the ADUs that when they start coming online more, that will occur. We, the county, have not adopted the phase 2 amendments. So once that happens, I think there will be another, sort of draw. And then finally, we have all these irons in the fire for various larger development projects, which haven't come to fruition yet. And so we could see, 15 units here and 20 units there. So when these things come online, the pool of over 200 that we have now will certainly draw down.
Heather, I'll address that. We are definitely on the same page and looking at the IPE score as well, for sure, yeah. Ken's running that, and he was doing the threshold update, which went to GB yesterday, so I think that's moving us right now, yeah, so.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great.
Is
So,
that Basin wide?
no, just right now, we're looking, because they're at 726 and everybody else is at 1.
there's one.
So
Gotcha.
Yeah. So we
is
need
there
to see what-
is there some report or presentation I can ask for from Ken?
Not yet, I mean, he has to do the analysis now.
Basically,
Yeah.
he was busy, what you're saying, he was busy
He was
with
busy doing the threshold
threshold.
update.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said it
Now
went to
he'll-
GB.
Now he'll
Okay.
Now he'll start the analysis. Well,
Okay.
I'm speaking for him, but,
Yeah.
I assuming that was high on his list, but the threshold update was higher. So now that threshold
Got
update has been accomplished, and so now I'm assuming it's gonna move up. But we talk about it frequently, so
Yeah.
we're on it.
Great.
He's
Thank you.
asking us to just wait till the threshold update is done.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Washoe County here, I would say similar to what it sounds like Placer and others have, is that we have a plethora. I think we've got well over 100. I can't give an accurate count, but for the most part, we just don't see as much of a demand for them here. I would say about 3 to 7. I looked over the last 5 years is what we average for distributing the allocations. And I don't really anticipate our large projects, Calneva, the Boulder Bay, now Walt, they won't be needing them. So I don't really see an uptick. The ADU, if our proposal to allow for ADUs on parcels less than an acre, maybe we will, because that obviously is a barrier for some people, and maybe that might create more of a demand, but
So, Courtney, are you
we've got
guys-
plenty.
Are you thinking about that, changing that?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes. And we are going through the phase 2 housing amendment, our phase 2 housing amendment for the Tahoe area plan, and then along with various other Washoe County, driven amendments. And that is top priority for us, is to pursue that. And thus far, we aren't seeing a lot of pushback with that. So yeah, hopefully that is something that gets added. I think we're looking at kind of a summer starting our public hearing process with you all.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's
You
on the
guys have-
horizon, hopefully.
Thank you. You guys
Yeah.
have a, or not have?
In the valley, I mean, we don't,
No, and your allocations are up here.
I mean, I don't think we have much up here.
I mean, we have, you guys have allocations. Do you know how many you have, like, in the bank? No, don't know. Okay.
I have no idea.
Okay.
I
And you
don't
must have
believe-
some, because if you didn't, the people were
I can
asking.
look at the
you
pool.
could comment
Yeah, I
here.
can look at the pool, but I
Yeah.
don't believe that there's
There's not much.
Huge
a
demand.
huge demand, yeah, for Douglas County either, so.
I mean, with the high interest rates, it's like people just aren't.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, they just have a build out of each club and that's about it, you know?
Right.
Maybe you guys.
Yeah, I
adopt-
think in incline, it's tear down rebuilds. We're just, that's the number one thing that we're seeing a lot of, especially along the lake.
Us too, yeah.
Yeah. So we have a lot of those. That's a common. I'm sure you guys see them as well.
Is Douglas County considering doing the ADUs too, and partial under an acre up here at the lake?
Good question. I didn't see, did they say yes? Because we've been kind of curious being on the Nevada side.
You guys are?
There's some up here that it's mostly in the valley though. It's
Yeah.
not really
No,
up there though.
but right now.
But they're
it's-
prohibited right now.
they're prohibited
Yeah.
right now, so do you know if Douglas County is deciding to change that at all?
No, I do not know
He
that.
does, we're not sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Wendy. Yeah, I think I bring that up almost every time. Because it's a question that we get, because obviously the California jurisdictions did this a couple of years ago, and just curious on the Nevada and consistency and what regulations you guys have for ADUs over there. Especially just general, sizes, et cetera. So it sounds like it's kind of still status quo. Or don't know.
Courtney, you could probably reach out to Kate Morales.
Kate Morales.
And I don't mind
O'Neill.
following up. too.
Yeah.
She
Okay, yeah, I am
goes with
curious.
us, But yeah, I'm not familiar with that part of things.
Yeah. I know it took us some time to get to a place where there was some Nevada state law related to the short-term rentals was probably the biggest concern with laxing the ADU regulations, because there was concerns that would potentially cause a proliferation of short-term rentals using the accessory dwellings. But our short-term rental ordinance that was just passed this last year now prohibits the ADU from being used as an STR, which was something that kind of held us back, I think, initially from pursuing that, lifting that 1 acre restriction. And now that we have that in place, I think it's more palatable for the community.
That's great.
That makes a lot of sense.
It's
yeah.
easier for everybody if the rules are the same.
Right, that's what I would like to see. Yeah, yeah, understand.
I don't think Nevada wants
No.
California style, like SB 9, right? Or-
Yeah.
or-
It's just the
Pick-
ADU
Just
part of
pick
it.
your bills.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the most part, yeah, Nevada doesn't necessarily try it. I wouldn't say they follow California steps. They like to lead their own way.
All right, thanks, everybody. Are there any other questions, comments from the committee?
I don't have any questions, but I did want to just take a moment to say big thank you to you, Tiffany. I know
Yes,
this
thank you.
whole audit season goes on for way too many months and has a lot of work and a lot of pivots and a lot of changes. And, you worked with us extensively on the TMDL and every sort of XYZ scenario we could come up with to get those allocations back. So I really appreciate all of your time and hard work and cooperation.
Yeah, thank you, Heather, and I'll just extend my appreciation for all of you. This is my first go around as the local government committee and doing the allocation disbursement. And I know it's been like an endless request of information from you all, and I appreciate the responsiveness and the cooperation and understanding, and looking forward to working together in the future, so. With that, maybe I'll just open it up and see if Jessica, if there's any public that
There
wants
are
to
any
be.
members of the public online, but let me just announce anyway,
Okay.
in case somebody jumps on. If any member of the public would like to comment on this item, please raise your hand now, by clicking on the raise hand button at the bottom of your Zoom screen. There are no hands raised.
Thank you. So I think with that, we take a,
Yeah, do we have
Motion to
a motion on?
do we have a motion on the allocation disbursement for the 2025-2026?
Is there?
You guys have a
somebody that-
slide?
yeah,
Oh, there we
yeah.
go. Yeah, thank
You
you.
know, this other screen. Here we go.
I'd like to make a motion, the proposed distribution of residential allocations for 2025 and 2026 meets the requirements of chapter 50, section 50.5, allocation of additional residential units for the TRPA code of ordinances.
I'll second.
We'll just go ahead and we'll take a roll call vote, maybe go in person first and then go switch to another. Let's,
Should we,
call the names.
do you have
Just-
everybody's screens?
I do, can I call him?
Yeah.
Yes, okay, Courtney Walker.
Aye.
Heather Beckman,
Aye.
Courtney Waike,
Okay.
I think that's it, right? Or do I have to get it from?
These two.
Oh, Brendan Ferry
Aye.
and John Hitchcock.
Aye.
Okay, I think that the motion passes.
It's funny, I thought there was more because there's an and.
I thought so too. And that's what-
Yeah, I was waiting.
Excuse about that.
Isn't
Is there another one? Cause,
There is not.
Okay, that's
the last slide.
okay, sorry.
Um,
It's my-
this is being recommended to the governing board, though, right? For
It goes to APC first,
For APC.
and then governing board.
So we should make a motion to recommend, it's and a motion to recommend approval. Or let's just say the governing board, because that will be,
Mhm.
it'll eventually land there. A
Right.
motion that the governing board approve. Or to recommend that the governing board approve the proposed distribution.
Okay,
So this was like that there was a finding. That meets their criteria. But let's say, sorry to do this on the fly, but
okay,
that there should be a motion to recommend that the governing board approve the proposed distribution of residential allocations for 2025 and 2026 period.
the motion
And
to
so somebody can
recommend.
make that motion.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion recommending the governing board approve the distribution of residential allocations for 2025 and 2026.
That's good.
That's it?
Yeah.
I'll second that again.
All right, we'll go to roll call, Courtney Walker,
Aye.
Heather Beckman,
Aye.
Courtney Waike,
Aye.
Brendan Ferry,
Aye.
John Hitchcock.
All right,
All right, motion passes.
Yeah.
And we'll have that same motion when it goes to APC,
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
and, yeah.
Was that coming in March?
Mhm. Yeah.
All right.
All right, so I think, with that, we can adjourn the meeting. I don't, do I have to do anything
That's right.
else? Okay.
Somebody, you move to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay.
There you go.
Thanks all.
Yep.
Thank you.
Hey.
Nice seeing you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.